Alcohol and your sex life, the two do not go hand in hand. Because it might lower your inhibitions, but it's no good for you overall. And when you become an alcoholic, you don't have a sex life because all you concentrate on is a drink. Now, as far as I'm concerned, alcohol took over my life and I lost all interest in everything. And if you look around the pubs, there's lots of men there, aren't there, on their own. And they'll all say to you, they'll say to me, oh, I'm not interested in women, can't be bothered with them and all that. It's because they can't get one. That's the reason. Because they don't look after themselves. They sit in the pub, they drink, they're getting themselves in a mess, they're overweight, and the drink takes control, and they kid themselves having a good time. But I'll tell you something now, getting sober, reinvent yourself, and your relationships will improve, relationship you had will improve, your sex life will improve, and everything will improve. Now the sex thing, I've never heard anybody else talk about, but it causes all sorts of issues with you, as a man especially, with erectile dysfunction. Obviously, that's only men, isn't it? You drink too much, your sexual performance is lowered, you're not really going to be up for it. It's all these sort of things. It's a big part of life, isn't it? Especially in a relationship, and this is why women get pissed off with us as men. And it's hard to live with an alcoholic. It's hard for a man to live with a female alcoholic. Because nothing is right. Physically, you're not right. Nothing will work properly in your body. And, dating when you've been drinking is no good. Women want reliability. Men want reliability. I once had a date with a woman who was a very heavy drinker. It was a waste of time. She was so drunk all the time. You can't have a conversation. You can't have a date with a woman like that. You need some stability in your life, don't you? You want some credibility, somebody with intelligence, somebody who sit in the pub all the time. I've seen people, they go on dates, all they do is drink. Drink. I never did that. Well, my ex-wife didn't drink very much, which is probably saving grace a little bit, although we didn't get on particularly well. But the drink wasn't the be-all and end-all of her life as well. And the two people drinking together, then you don't have any relationship whatsoever, It's an important subject, this, but not many people are willing to speak about it. Because you can't have a good relationship without some sort of sex life, without some sort of intimacy. And the intimacy goes out the window because all you're focusing on is a drink. Many couples will go, oh, we'll have a really cosy night in and all that, and they get 2 or 3 bottles of wine, or 2 or 3, glasses of gin and tonic, or 10 pints, in my case, 12 pints. You end up going to sleep, don't you? You don't have any intimacy. You wake up feeling groggy the next day, hating each other. You probably had an argument. There's all these sort of things come into it as well, doesn't it? Drink causes arguments, it causes jealousy, it causes overthinking. Your imagination runs wild, and you cannot maintain a good relationship as a heavy drinker. That's why a lot of heavy drinkers are single. That's why you see them in the pub on their own, or in a little group. They tend to collaborate together, don't they? And they all think that one drinks more than the other. Oh, I'm not as bad as him because he drinks 2 bottles of whiskey, or whatever it is. But your relationships with the opposite sex are a nightmare when you're drinking. I know that from personal experience. When you get sober, everything's better. Your whole life will improve. And I've got a couple of friends who are similar age to me. And they always say, oh, I don't want a woman, I can't be bothered with a woman. And I said to them the other day, I said, if you could get a lovely woman in your life, would it change you? Oh yeah, it would, but I can't be bothered with it. The drink becomes their number one focus in their life. And they can't see past that. So they don't see a good, valuable relationship. There's nothing better than a good partner, to help you, to support you, and you do the same for them. And when you're reliable, when you're sober, then you become a better partner because you can say to them, I'll take a bit of pressure off you. I'll do this, I'll do that. And you get a loving, warm relationship from that. You don't get anything by going to the pub every night. You're living separate lives, you see. That's what happened to me. It's what happens to a lot of drinkers. And in the end, you live a life of isolation. That's what most alcoholics live, a life of isolation. Because nobody wants to know you. As my dad said, he passed away 4 years ago this month actually, he always used to say, everyone likes to drink, nobody likes a drunk. I was never drunk to the point where I was in a mess, getting arrested, falling over too much. But I was still a drunk in his eyes, in my eyes, really, when I look back, because I was drinking too much. I was drinking all the time. I went from having a reasonably good relationship with women to being totally obsessed with alcohol. I wasn't bothered. And it just turns you off everything. You lose your libido, you lose your sense of being, you lose your ambition, your confidence, you lose everything with it. And you've got to focus on why you're here. Because we're all here. Nobody wants to be alone, you know. Well, very few people do. It's not natural to be on your own. But you just go to any pub around 10 o'clock Wetherspoons, 9 o'clock Wetherspoons, 11 o'clock in a normal boozer. Nearly men, 95% men sitting there with a pint of something. Just looking pissed off with their life. And sick of the fact that they're on their own. They've wasted all the money. But you can't turn it around. You've got to turn it around before it's too late, before you end up in total isolation like I did for a while. And that was torture, being on your own. And I don't want to be on my own again. I'm not saying I would go with somebody who wasn't suitable. I think I'm quite choosy. However, you won't get somebody decent if you drink too much, because your partners will be choosy. Unless they're alcoholics themselves. And then it's double trouble, isn't it? And you're both in a mess. And you're not live very long anyway. It's something to consider what you want out of life. And I speak to a lot of people I mentor, and I say to them, you know, in the 40s and 50s, what do you want out of life? Do you want to give a drink? Do you want a better life? Do you want to be more successful? Do you want to get married? Do you want to do this? And when I push it to them, they say, yeah, that would be quite nice, actually. Because when you get into this rut, which is going to the boozer on your own, being on your own, you don't think outside the box. That is your life, you see. I know people in their 40s who go to the same pub, sit in the same seat every day of the year, including Christmas Day, because they have no vision. And if you have no vision and you have no reason to get sober, then you'll just get further and further in a rut, and things will just completely turn against you, and your life will just disappear before your very eyes. And we're all getting older every day, and your hangovers will get worse, and you'll end up on your own, and you'll die alone. It's a very, very harsh message, this, but it's true. That's what's going to happen to you. It's a very powerful addiction, this. I've just been at the RVR to meet a specialist nurse I'm going to do some work with on the alcohol care team, I hope. And, you know, she was just saying the power of addiction is incredible. And the number of alcohol-related deaths is on the increase, and especially among females. If you want a good relationship, you want a good sex life, you want a good life, you want some intimacy, you want some closeness in your life, and there's nothing better than to love and be loved, then get off the booze. It's as simple as that. Give me a shout. I'll put the links in the description. If you benefit from the channel, then please subscribe and share it. And if you want me to cover any topics, let me know. I've got an ebook out as well. I'll put the link in there. It's only $5.99, the price of one drink. It's worth having a look at. It's a good reference guide that may stop you from relapsing, which is the key, because relapse is a big killer. I'll speak to you all soon.